Alright, good morning, y'all. Welcome back to Ravenswatch. Now, today's a little different because my voice audio didn't actually record, so I'm doing a little voiceover. We're playing Scarlet, though, and I'm taking Shapeshifter for our first upgrade because it's a lot of fun, man. I really debated taking the special one, but I had a lot of fun with it last time, so I want to do it again and keep practicing those, like, iframes and all those good things. Now, Scarlet is really good, right? Like, even at level 1, like, look at how much damage we can do. Guaranteed critical hits, dealing 124 across multiple guys. There's so many iframes that you can pull off, too. Like, her werewolf form has iframes on her special and her power. And granted, their defense doesn't have iframes, but, you know, you get the healing, damage, and defense increase. And right there, I mean, you can see at level 1, we're hitting 150 damage on a single power use. It's incredible. And then right here, I mean, look, you just dodge things with a special defense, and we're going to move through this guy in just a moment to dodge that. And even though we're taking damage, look how much we heal up. Like, once you get that shapeshifter thing down, you can really get some amazing use out of it. Just shapeshifting into werewolf form or human form to heal up, using the werewolf form to really brawl and heal, and then get some of that sweet burst damage off of the human form, especially depending on some of the later upgrades you take. It's really good. She's just a phenomenal character. And I think that's why a lot of times when people look at the other heroes and they say, oh, this damage isn't so good, this is weak, it's because maybe they're getting compared to her. And now on this next upgrade at level 2, I debate taking the wide attacks, but I end up going with a short wick. So the bomb isn't going to hurt us, and it's going to recharge faster in both forms. It's not necessarily a straight damage increase, it's just like a quality of life thing. Because you can drop the bomb and have the immediate effect go off, and you just don't have to worry about it stunning yourself or friends if you're playing in a team setting. And we're always looking for those angles, you know, you move over and then you cut across as many guys as possible, and just keep an eye on when they're doing their attacks, and you just go around them and avoid any dash attacks. And now this item we get here at this camp, these options aren't very good for us. The only one that's decent is Ogre Blood. The Dreamcatcher is good because you can get more from the Sandman, but I chose the Ogre Blood because with that first upgrade, our maximum health is lower, so I'm going to be trying to increase our vitality because we need to cover that weakness a bit. I've shown it before, like, you can easily get caught in one mistake and die immediately. So you need to make sure you watch for that. That's why I chose it. And just like that, you know, we're just wiping through dudes. See how much damage she's doing, just right there. Even at a low level, we haven't increased any of her damage, and she's just slicing through guys. We move over to that side so we can get rid of the Scarecrow, just because we're probably going to get clipped by things. We were doing 170 damage on those critical hits, which is really good. And then you just angle, right? You know these guys are doing their acid attacks. You move to a better spot and then just cut across them. And our next upgrade, we end up taking Cleave. You know, I have a lot of fun with the wide attacks, but I love getting the big AoE occasional hits. It's very satisfying to land. It looks cool. And, you know, and you'll see it in this fight, it ends up doing some good work for us. And we transform to try and get as many iframes as possible. We don't get a good use of our special there, but, you know, by staying kind of out of the middle of it, we're able to avoid some big hits. But right there, just a moment ago, you're able to see the big cleaving attacks, and right there, hitting a bunch of the guys. And in the werewolf one, you can activate the defense and start getting a lot of AoE healing by hitting a lot of guys at once. And as always, you know, keeping an eye on the enemies, and you start seeing them do their acid attacks, and you just back out, avoid it, take the hits where you can, using our chomp and iframes with special to avoid as much as possible. And then our defense is going to allow us to start healing up off our attacks, and then we can just pick up orbs to heal up or transform, and we're back and topped off. It's really good. Now we're collecting a bunch of dream shards because down there at the bottom is a wishing well. And so we're going to want to get some items from there. And there was a boss key, right? We saw that we were in the general area of the boss thing. So we decided I'm going to go look around for the boss key. I found the boss key. But what I end up doing is I collect it and then I go down to the wishing well so that I can get some items first, so I'm powered up a bit and I can more easily take on that cool boss fight. But I did make a mistake, because what I should have done originally, if you look on the map, I skated by the wishing well and I didn't actually clear it earlier. And I should have cleared it earlier so I could have fast traveled in quickly. Now, we're always keeping an eye out, right? We took a scythe hit there, but we were able to avoid the roots, and then before I could take any big hits, we use transformation iframes, and then immediately get some meaty critical hits by dashing right across a bunch of dudes. It's really good. The Scarlet's so good, and I'm just going to keep saying that over and over again. It's amazing. Right there, I took a bunch of hits trying to set in the special right in the middle of them. That's where that upgrade isn't so great. You know, you could have, like, dropped it somewhere far away and let them walk into it and then explode. So, you know. We took a power damage increase for some extra damage, you know. And then the Raven's Claw, I ended up choosing that one instead of the extra charge because I like just having it recharging slightly faster. It feels like I get enough, like it recharges in time for me to have all 4 like combo points, whereas before if I have the 2 charges, I guess that's like the same thing, but I don't know. Like, I don't know that there's really a difference or that it's really a better choice. It's just kind of a personal preference for me at that point. But we had a good clean fight there. We took some damage, but if we transform, we're going to immediately top off. And we're going to go right into this boss, get ready to dodge his acid, right? We use our power to move to the other side, drop a bomb, and then we use our transformation to avoid his bite, right? And then we can dodge him with some other abilities, and we'll re-engage with our power and proc our defense so that we're doing more damage, and we can just ignore those rockets from the little ghouls. You know, we just heal and top off from it. Now we kind of reposition ourselves. We don't really want to take the bite. So wait for him to do his big like rock throw and then dodge his bite with a special activation. We go wide, circling over and away from the acid, re-engaging with our power, and then we start following him, dodging rock throws and the like, and then we just clean up the fight because he's weak. Swap to our human form and get an immediate critical off our power, and we level up. And we end up taking Pyromania, and I think ultimately what we should have done was an armor break one, but we'll get into that a little bit more. The Pyromania catches guys on fire, which is okay. The damage isn't very good, but the extra critical strike chance on the special does end up adding a lot of damage, especially in werewolf form. And then in the legendary item, we took the second ultimate charge. It's just a solid choice, especially because I'm going to take In the Belly, and having 2 charges of that and the grandmother's memento to like keep us alive, like just ignore mechanics. It's really good. It's just a strong choice. Another good fight, 201 damage on that critical hit, and we haven't even really increased our damage, whether it's like straight damage or critical hit damage. And that's something you can definitely do with Red Riding Hood. Increase your crit damage, and you can do monstrous numbers. You can see it without even increasing it. And using her power, the quick recharge allows us to quick move from one side of the fight to the other and just avoid any damaging hits. And we transform in the middle of it to start doing some wicked AoE damage as well as healing. And we're working on the pig quest now, so we're going through collecting a bunch of wood because we've got some great opportunities to continue getting more legendary and first items, right? We got the one from the mini boss fight, we're going to get one from the pig, and then there's a wishing well. So rather than going for legendary upgrades, we're getting ourselves some legendary items. And we were able to wipe out all those guys by using our freaking werewolf special, and you can see we use that transformation to avoid the big swing and the cleave attack coming in pretty good to clear out a bunch of those guys at once. We end up running around and we collected a bunch more wood. We're back here with the pig now, and so now we're going to go ahead and win the fight. And I start in werewolf form. I feel like it felt like a good choice. Get some good AoE stuff to clear guys, as well as some strong single target damage with the power. It also allows us to top off, right? And I mean, look at the power. Even without a critical hit, that werewolf power is doing nearly 250 damage. And now we should definitely be clearing out these little guys all at once, right? I end up focusing on the Banshee a bit, but, clear out the little dudes who are on top of the house. And that's something I've been trying to figure out as I go, like, what is the optimal strategy here? And the best thing I've kind of figured so far, get rid of as many guys as you can at once. If you have to, ignore the big dudes, get rid of all the extra little adds so that you're minimizing the damage the house is taking. That big slam does do big damage, but in the end, I feel like those berserkers are going to end up chopping more off of the house than anybody else. Good special hit. Now, that wasn't a good example on how much critical damage you can do. There's some other spots where you can see it do like hundreds of damage all around the board, and then you catch him on fire. Now you can see here, right, I'm focusing on these tree guys and these guys in the back. I aggroed those pigs earlier, and I needed to get them off the house because all those extra guys on top of it are just doing a lot more damage. But you can see we did some good AoE damage there. Transform so we can engage with our power, and then drop a bomb and finish them. And we're already level 5. We're getting another legendary thing, which we take that Tamate Bako. Because, you know, the other ones I wasn't feeling super great about. And this one's going to give us another option here at the Wishing Well, which is going to come in pretty well. I think it's just a solid choice as well. Like, as a game's going to keep going, you're going to get more use out of it as the game goes on. Now, we take the Cauldron of Durnwick. It gives us 50 vitality, but we lose 50% crit chance. I take it because we have freaking Ogre Blood. I mean, look at us. We now have 80 vitality. We were at like 77 or something. And now we've got 16 attack damage stat. The bad thing about it, and this is why I was saying taking the like Pyromania special was kind of a mistake, is because now the extra crit chance, it doesn't exist anymore. It's completely gone. It's gone. So the armor break one would have been better. It allows for us to get some more like consistent damage just by people being vulnerable. But we're doing some good meaty attacks. 25 a hit is not bad. And then from here, we take the Horn of Plenty, which just feeds into it more. Watch our vitality go up. 115, and now we're 23 damage. It's incredible. And not a lot much of anything else happens after that. We go right into the boss fight now. Start moving on. We're taking some hits here, but with all that extra health, I mean, we're at 271 maximum HP, so we can afford to take some hits, play a little aggressively, especially because even though we're very solid, we're not really going to die. Like, our damage isn't outstanding, right? We don't have any sick combos like we sometimes pull off with her other builds or with other characters where we can just do huge burst damage. Instead, we're just kind of a bruisey brawler type of character, right? We've got a lot of just consistent damage and survivability. So that's like where our power is right now. And this fight's gonna drag just a little bit. But even then, if you look, the damage we do on the boss itself isn't bad. And then we just drop down a souvenir and ignore all the mechanics the boss starts throwing at us, because why not? It makes it easier, you know? And we prefer that to slide across, and then we use a defense into a power to go across them. And there we go. Excellent, good fighting, cutting across. We take a hit there, a little unfortunate. We weren't over to the side enough, and then we cut through to finish it off. Now, here pretty soon, we're going to discover a bug. It's a fun one. But we keep bringing them down. We're going to do a defense and then cut across. We didn't do the defense, actually. No, we did. Yeah. Now, if you notice, that defense does not always have a guaranteed critical hit now. Like, I think it drops it down to a 50% thanks to the Cauldron of Durnwick. So we are still getting the crits every now and then. So, I mean, Scarlet is probably the worst person you could get that Cauldron on. Honestly, like, I probably shouldn't have even taken it and chosen something else, but I really wanted to get like the extra damage increase with Ogre Blood, because it's something I've been trying to get for a long time. There we go, good damage, just dodging through. Always keep an eye on like what the enemies are doing and circle around them, making sure your dash is off cooldown as you need it. And then you can use her defense to just kind of ignore some of the spikes. And good thing with Scarlet is she has so much mobility with her power, so when the boss starts doing those big slap things like that, you can use her power to just maneuver yourself into a better spot. And I eat a bunch of spikes right here because, I don't know, I guess I panicked. And right here we make a mistake. I should have used that mobility from the power to get out. There was no reason for me to take that damage, but, you know, that's just gonna happen. So we eat that guy. Now watch here, we eat the second dude, and then watch. Boss doesn't go down, and look, the tentacles are back, and not just those two, all of them. And in addition, look, Pool of Acid is still there. It's still over there. So now we have all the tentacles back, half the map is covered in acid, and we're just taking a ton of damage now because I'm starting to panic a little bit. I was freaking out. I was like, dude, what the heck is this? And then I go in and start trying to figure out how to report the bug. Yeah, so now we have to go through here. Look, we're just taking constant damage. We use the defense to try and just like power through this and like muscle through the extra damage, but we end up eating a whole bunch of spike damage. I'm super slow on the special use right there. We use our transformation to heal up and avoid some of it, and then we use our ultimate. but it doesn't ignore the ground effects. So we still take that damage over time on the ground, which kills us, and it really sucks. So now, we're really low. We have no revives left. There's a big slap coming in. We managed to use that power, like I said, to move out of bad positions. And yeah, so this is a pretty gnarly bug to hit. It looked like it had already been reported before, like somebody said that they used the in the belly on the last tentacle and they didn't enter the damage phase. I fat fingered a map right there. So I'm gonna try and recreate this at some point and see if it's still if the bug exists if you use 2 in the bellies, because we end up finishing off one of the last tentacles again here in a minute and it doesn't trigger it. So maybe it's inconsistent, maybe you need to do the last 2 tentacles. I'm not really sure, so I just recommend try and avoid using it on the last tentacle for the time being to make sure hey, it doesn't happen. Or keep doing it. It's early access. Keep testing and making sure that the bug doesn't exist still. So we use here power, power to avoid the big slap, and then we're going to kind of circle around, getting some good defense to heal us up, and move over, taking a slap. We should have used our power for a special to avoid it, and then we use our power to re-engage. Big slap, 108 damage. Just dodging things. He's going to try and get us in a second. Yeah, I really regret taking the Ignite special. That vulnerable would do some good work for us, and see if the bug didn't trigger. Because with the vulnerable right here, right, we would be getting so much bonus damage on the guy. It would be incredible. That burning is only doing 9 a second. It's not worth it, man. Vulnerable is definitely the way to go, especially when you're getting big, mean 314 damage hits or big criticals like that. And a bonus 50% damage is huge. It's a lot of damage. But yeah, there it is. We end up making it through. I've been trying to do this thing here in my runs here lately where I'm always trying to be better, but I specifically really want to avoid losing any Raven Feathers in the first chapter. Because if you're losing them in the first chapter, you're not going to have them in the later ones where you may really need them for some hard fights. We did okay. We did 68,000 damage, and I feel like that's pretty average. I'm generally doing somewhere between the 62 to 68k damage. It took us 27 minutes. It was quite a long one. The boss fight took a very long time. Like I said, while we had bonus damage and stuff, we didn't have huge damage, right? So yeah, could have been better, but it worked out okay. We discovered a bug. We got a good vitality build going on. And Scarlet is she's probably the best hero in a way. She just has consistent damage, great mobility, good iframes to avoid things. All of her upgrades are fantastic, and she can get some wicked builds using critical hits and the like. Very solid character. And Shapeshifter has just been really growing on me a lot. It's a lot of fun, good healing, you get some iframes. You just have to be careful because you lose that maximum health. But that's pretty much it. I don't have much more to say about it. There were some other things I'm sure I talked about in the actual video itself when I didn't get my audio recorded. But I appreciate you guys checking it out. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And, if you want to see something more like this where I just kind of voice talk over things as I have gameplay in the background, just let me know. Yeah, that's it. Take care, everybody.